Hey, let's get started. So, a couple things. We want to introduce you to Yuli. Uh, Julie, you can unmute yourself or show yourself. There you are. Hola, ¿qué tal?
Bien.
¿Puedes
¿Cómo?
oírme bien? ¿Ok? ¿Está bien? Okay.
Sí.
Listen, this is Julie. So so when you email the staff email, this is the actual human being who is responding to the emails. Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
And, and Julie, here's a question. Why do they want to email you and not email me, especially when it's something important?
Because you're less likely to reply. Not because you don't want to, it's just because you have many things on your head. So I'm the one who makes sure that if they email me at the staff email, I will make sure you read those emails and they will have a reply.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. It's because you will never respond. Or you will forward them to me, so I will need to respond. So just save time and send it directly to the staff email.
So if people email me, I forward it to you. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what usually happens.
Especially if it's really important, because sometimes Julie will text me at like 11 o'clock at night or midnight or something and say, hey, there's an email you need to look at right now, and I will look at it. But if you send me an email, I won't see it. But Julie makes sure that I do everything that I need to do.
Yeah.
Okay, Julie, what do they need to know about getting an A in the class?
Well, I think two things. First is it's not that hard to get an A in this class, but only if you follow the syllabus and the rules. So first thing is reading the syllabus, because if you send me a question that is evidently on the syllabus, I will send you to read the syllabus. So just have the syllabus as your navigation map, and I think getting an A in this class is just like pretty soft. And you will enjoy it as well, because you know what you need to do.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And Julie right now is in Colombia, in a little small city called Armenia.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
And also, I speak Spanish, so if you guys want to try to just practice your Spanish or feel confident speaking, writing in Spanish, I'm so happy to do it in Spanish as well.
and she's learning Portuguese and French, right? So
French is like a little bit harder, but yeah, I feel confident in Portuguese as well. So if you want me to help, if you can help me, you guys can help me practice my Portuguese. I'm also happy to reply in Portuguese.
yeah. All right, cool. Okay, so we good?
Last thing, just one little advice: do not share the attendance code with your friends, because at this time of our lives, we have a lot of experience finding who is cheating and finding who did it. Because we have systems in place, and this is not our first semester doing attendance quizzes. So we already know, just save time. It doesn't work to just put yourself in risk for 1.5 minutes, points. So yeah, we appreciate more your honesty than your fearless cheating just practices. So yeah, just be honest.
Yeah. So in other words, when we do the attendance in here, what she's saying is don't share the code with your friends who are not in class. Cool? Because we will know. We will find out. Yeah. Okay. Okay, gracias. Okay. Okay, hasta luego. Ciao.
Ciao.
So listen. So we're gonna do this class. What happens next? And it's another fact-finding class of sorts. Just I'm absolutely curious about what you all are thinking about some things. Okay, so can can you go to the next slide? So listen, so today is the anniversary of 9/11. We had Social 19 at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, September 11th. And it was really, really powerful experience. Sometimes people ask me what has been the most memorable Social 19 class, and I often reference that one, in that we had a couple people in class who had parents or relatives. One was a father, and one was a brother or a sister, who worked in the Twin Trade Towers in New York. And this was back before everybody had a cell phone, and people had flip phones and that kind of thing. But they didn't know if they're in the case of their father, and I think it was a brother who survived. And it was a really intense class, and it was down the hall, and really, really just profound, because I knew that the world had shifted on that day, and it was, and it did. Things were really, really powerful, and a lot of people were canceling class. But what I heard from my students really early on that morning, I heard from a bunch of people, and they're like, "Don't cancel class. We need to have class." So that evening, then we had a gathering. My class really pushed it. We had a gathering, a vigil at the Peace Garden. And a lot of you probably don't know even what the Peace Garden is. It's that little park behind McAllister Building next to the hub, between Henderson and McAllister next to the hub. And that is called the Peace Garden because we had a random shooting on campus in the I think around 97. And some young woman who was mentally ill brought a gun to campus and killed one student and wounded another student on the hub lawn. And so that's why that garden exists. And it's funny how, these stories are there, and we don't, they're there in the memories of people like myself who have been around, but other folks don't know. But that's what that is when you go into that garden. And so we had a gathering that night of September 11th in the Peace Garden. And then students, it was the only thing that really happened on campus. Everything was just completely shut down. But we did that, and lots of students from many, many different parts of campus came, and we did a candlelight vigil. And it was good. It was important, and it's just important in these times. And then yesterday, we had the killing of Charlie Kirk. And Charlie Kirk has spoken in this room a couple of times. And he is for those who don't know, he started university when he was 18, like many of you, most of you. And, he really wanted to be involved and be active. And when he got to the university, and I met Charlie Kirk when he was here the first time, he decided that he started taking classes, and he sat in on some of these big lecture classes, and, where you take notes. They put PowerPoint slides up, and, you write notes down, and then a few weeks later, you take an exam, and you see if you can memorize everything that was on those PowerPoint slides. And then as soon as you take the exam, you forget it all because it doesn't matter to your life, and it's irrelevant. And he started doing that, and he said, "This is not for me. I actually want to do something. I want to be active. I want to be involved. I want to get people like me really active in changing the world." And so he dropped out. And he had the courage to drop out, right? Which, a lot of folks probably get to that same place, but they don't do that. But he did. And, he's quite talented from a really young age. He was, quite a talented, speaker, and developed a kind of a sense of confidence, and, chose his ideas that were important to him. We all have certain, well, not, we don't all, a lot of us are just kind of floating through the world, and we haven't really found ourselves yet, but he had certain ideas that were important, and then over the years, those ideas, shifted in different directions, but, I listened to him a lot, and, you can, one thing I want to say that's very important, we have, I don't know, like 1,200 hours of video up from Social 119. And in 1,200 hours, if you scroll through 1,200 hours of video, you can find something that you can find a lot of things that you like, and you can find a lot of things that you don't like. And then you can, form your opinion, whichever way you want to go. Like, I like this guy, or I like this class, or this is a good class, this is valuable, etc. Or I don't. And this is stupid, and this guy's a knucklehead, or he's bad for young people, or whatever the case is. And, Social 119 is really important, and more students should take it, or Social 119 should be shut down. You can scroll through those 1,000+ hours of video and find whatever you want to find to make your point, right? Well, the same with somebody like him. Same with anybody like that. He's I would listen to him often and be like, listen to him debating someone. I'd be like, okay, that's a good point. That's a cool point. Okay, that's good. Okay, I don't like that. That's like, yeah. Oh, that's cool. No, that's not cool. I don't like that. And that's how life is. And that's how life should be. And if you're really engaged, that's how it should be. You can't, if you listen to someone or find somebody out there in the world who you agree with on everything, then you probably can assume that you have some degree of schizophrenia or psychosis, because you're listening to yourself. Because there's nobody anywhere that you agree with 100% of the time. That's the nature of it, right? So, people with me, sometimes they take a little tiny clip out of 8 seconds, and they're like, oh, this guy is a lunatic, right? And I'm like, well, you didn't get the 8 seconds before, and you didn't get the 8 seconds after. You got that 8 seconds. Well, that happens a lot, and I'm watching that now on, Reddit and on Twitter and on different things, So I want to caution you all, caution everybody to be careful about doing this to anyone, okay? In any case, he kind of essentially is assassinated for his ideas, for challenging people. And, whoa. Man, I've received death threats, okay? So, this is serious. Like, we're in this space, here we are, okay? So, Gary the Willard preacher over the years, I'm a friend of Gary's. Gary and I have done a couple debates together as fundraising endeavors, fundraising debates, because, students in this class used to raise money for projects that we were doing in Haiti for many years. And so a couple different groups of students and a couple different semesters, they said, hey, can you do a debate with Gary? And then we'll charge admission to the debate, and then that's the money that we'll donate to this project in Haiti. So I've always told students, hey, listen, man, you want to hone your thinking skills? Go try to debate Gary, right? Go try to debate him, man. You're almost certainly going to lose, okay? And he's just better at it. He's a really nice guy, actually. And the debates that he and I did, it wasn't so much a debate, really. And what it was I knew Gary, and I know that sometimes, he says things to get people's attention. Because if you don't, wait, are we am I on camera up here in the front of the room? Hey, team, can you put me on something? There we go. All right. So this is what you do when you walk past Gary, like this. He's talking and you're walking, right? But here's what you do when Gary says something that's really like, boom, something that's like that, a little bit controversial, something you're walking along and you go like, what did he just say? Right? And that means you've stopped. And that means now you're going to listen. And so that means Gary's going to start. And then someone's going to start debating him. And then now you've done what we're supposed to be doing at universities, which is engaging and thinking and debating and like, okay, that's good. And you can say, oh yeah, but he says things that are insensitive or whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a white man. Maybe it's because I'm 65. But like, we're adults. It's all right, So I always say that about him. And when Charlie came to Penn State, I said the same thing. People would say, oh, this guy, oh, God, either they love him or they're going to go try to protest. And I'm like, what are you going to protest? What are you protesting? Ideas? Like, what are you actually protesting? Come on, man. Instead of protesting, what you do is go and debate him, right? Go debate him. But, a lot of people don't want to do that because they're going to look silly because he became a really smart guy. And you can say, well, he can't be very smart. Some of you maybe, you can't be very smart because I disliked his ideas. Well, you can dislike ideas, but debate. That's what we're doing at a university. This is it. This is it, man. We're trying to be smarter. We're trying to just be better and smarter than what we were when we started. And so the news of his death yesterday really, it led me to, can you go backwards one, Nish? What happens next? Okay, now what? Where are we going? Okay, so go ahead, go forward, and then go one more. And it led me here. Violence or the threat of violence against civilians to achieve some political goal. So 9/11 is terrorism. What happened yesterday, the killing of Charlie Kirk, is terrorism. So, I have my own thoughts when I think about this question of, okay, what's next? What's going to happen next? Where are we going to go? I have my own thoughts. But I'm of a different generation. So I really don't want to hear my thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts. Like, what do you think? What's next, y'all? So, you two gents. So I'd like to have at least, we have 2 volunteers. I didn't pick anybody out before class. I happened to speak to, would somebody else like to? It'd be nice if somebody, no, I need a woman actually. I don't want to do the male woman thing, but we got to have women. You haven't volunteered yet, right? You want? Okay, all right. Are there any international students who, this is not just about the U.S., by the way. Anybody international who would be like, yeah. Anybody from the Middle East, by the way? Wait, do you want to volunteer? Yeah? You want to go? Wait, hang on, before you do. Any women, are you from the Middle East? Where are you from? Saudi, you want to volunteer? Okay, come on. Sorry, bro. I'll hit you up next time. All right. Can you you guys move down that way? I'm going to have her sit here. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, I need that. All right. Okay, can we? You know, by the way, Jamie is in my ear, and she just asked me a question. Jamie is one of the moderators of the class in the chat, and she asks, is there a reason that you said debate and not conversation? Wait, maybe just scoot a little more this way. Okay, that's good. And yeah, Jamie, I think because, first off, it's really about conversation, right? But I think because I said debate because both Gary, of course, Gary is very happy to have a conversation. And when you have a conversation with Gary, he's really, really thoughtful. He's a really, really nice guy. Same with Charlie. Very congenial, very friendly. I quite enjoyed him, actually. So I think I said debate only because Charlie's so into the debate thing. And that's what he was doing when he was killed. He was there at this university in Utah. And to have a debate. So anyway, Jamie, that's why I said that. But in truth for me, it's about having a conversation. Okay, let's start at this end. So introduce yourself and something about you. Push it up. Yeah.
Okay, I'm Layla. Should I say my major and like where I'm from?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm from New Jersey, and my major is general biology.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Jack. I'm a civil engineering major, and I'm from Boston.
I'm Jason. I'm from Charlottesville, Virginia, and I'm a RHS major.
I'm Wala. I'm from Saudi, and I'm a chemical engineering major.
Lala. Wait, Lala, this is your first day, right? Is this your first day in class? Didn't you just add it?
No.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
That's somebody else. Chemical engineering?
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
from
sophomore.
Saudi. Okay, so listen, you can blacken the screen, by the way. Hey, what are when you think about this, you know, where we're at, and we think about 9/11, we think about what happened yesterday. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of that might happen next? Like, what are you guys afraid of? And by the way, you can speak to both the U.S. and speak the Middle East, or however you want to go. And anybody can start. Like, what are you afraid of?
I think the thing I fear the most is retaliation. Just because we live in a world where retaliation is such a common thing on both sides in any issue. And with Charlie being such a high profile, I mean, he raised millions of dollars for the right-wing party, endorsed candidates. I just feel like it opens the door for someone else who feels passionate to do it to a leader on the left.
Mm-hmm. So what does retaliation look like when you say that?
I could see, like, okay, for example, because I was just having a conversation with friends about this. Kamala Harris is going on a book tour. And I believe President Trump got rid of her, I think it's called like presidential security or whatever that she had. What if she has one in Philadelphia coming up in a couple weeks? What if she goes to that and someone wants to retaliate and says, I'm going to go to Kamala Harris's book tour and do what they did to Charlie?
Mm-hmm. Hey, by the way, I like that you said some of us, not them. It's some of us, right? Yeah. How about somebody else? Like, what are you most afraid might happen?
I think, our guns the laws changing. The laws have changed in Massachusetts already. You can't even have a Glock anymore. That's just a handgun. It's not an AK-47 or an AR-15. It's a handgun.
Well, so you're afraid, actually, of clamping down on the Second Amendment.
Yeah, because guns don't kill people. Cars don't drive drunk. Spoons don't make people fat. People kill people. Mm-hmm. People are sick, and they're the ones that kill people.
Mm-hmm. By the way, can I just tell you something? There are a ton, so many Second Amendment people watch this class, so you made a lot of friends right there. By the way, okay, somebody else.
Well, I think that was a really good segue into this. I think with the combination of possible retaliation and the lack of gun laws, wouldn't gun laws be better if there is a fear of retaliation from the left?
Yeah.
I think the problem with taking away or putting any gun laws into play is you're going to create a black market for guns. There's already a black market. There's already ghost guns, and it's just going to be just like weed, just like cocaine, just like anything else that gets on the street.
All right. Okay. So hang on. I want you to go back. What is it?
Layla.
Okay. Layla, go back to. So you made that point, but go back to the main question. What are you most afraid of?
I think I'm most afraid that America won't utilize Charlie Kirk's death in the correct way, and nothing will really be gained from it, and it'll take too long to put the pieces together of significance, meaning like, what was he talking about when he died? Who killed him? Was it a civilian or was it planned? Was it, the date, the location, things like that? It's going to take a little bit too long to dive into those things, which prolong the process of gun control and things like that.
Okay, so wait, what's the very first thing you said? How you started your sentence?
I'm sorry.
All right, no, okay. So, all right, so we don't learn from it. What would you like us to learn?
Gun control is necessary. I think that's a point that needs to be pushed, but there are...
Okay, go beyond guns. Set aside the guns, because somebody, he could have been killed in any other way, okay? What do we need to learn? Think about what I was saying, think about, what do we have to learn?
Sam, can I add something?
Yeah. Wait, no, hang on. I want to stick with Layla for a second.
Can I think on it?
Yeah, let me count. Yeah, hang on. How about you? What do you think we need? What do we need to learn right now? What are you afraid that we're not going to learn?
Well, from what I know about Saudi, we don't really have the choice of being able to own a gun. So I feel like seeing how our life is there, we don't really see as much gun violence or terrorism, as you said it, in our country. So I kind of don't really agree with his point about it's based on people. I feel like if you're giving people a choice to own a gun, then...
All right. So listen, I want to, it's not that I don't want to touch guns, because I'm happy to touch guns, right? But I want to go beyond that. We're beyond guns right now, y'all, right? We are from what I'm seeing here. Look here. I want to sit with some. I want you all to sit with something. I want you to respond to something. This thing could go south. Okay? You know what I mean by that, going south, okay? It could really spiral. Thinking about it spiraling, and so Layla and Wala, what are you afraid of? Wait. Spiraling. You know what I mean? You kind of, Jason said it in a way. It's retaliation and here and here and here and here and here. And what do you, hang on, do you think about that? Maybe you don't think about it.
Think about
things spiraling and getting out of control.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh-huh.
I think it's natural with any major thing, especially Charlie Kirk. He represented so much. He said so much all the time. So his death means a lot to a lot of people in a lot of different ways, but I'm not sure really what I'm afraid of other than the meaning of it and the symbolism behind his death not being understood and utilized.
So you're not really afraid in the way that some people. How about you?
No. I am still afraid. I am still afraid of things going south because things can go south in every way.
Okay, all right. So I'm thinking about, like, Go ahead,
For
yeah.
example, after the incident yesterday, my parents called me and they were telling me about how they were worried about how
hold it a little closer.
my parents called me and they were telling me about how they were worried about how the whole situation was done so easily and how this could lead to a spread of violence. So it does cause people to be afraid.
So cause your parents to be afraid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. Uh-huh. It's kind of interesting, right? Because we have the idea that, there are a lot of people in this room that would be afraid to go to Saudi Arabia. And if they went to Saudi Arabia, their friends and family would say, "Oh my God, be careful over there. It's really dangerous over there." And you would say, like, "Come on, man. Nothing gonna,
Like,
you
we're
might
the
get-
land of peace.
You might get run over by a Mercedes or something, you know what I mean? But you'll be all right. How about somebody? So either Jack or Deshaun, or Jason? Sorry, it's being afraid, like things going south, right? What's that look like to you guys? Or are you afraid? Do you have any fear of that? Like, y'all are young. You know what I mean? Like, you're just starting your lives. Like, I'm at the end. Like, I'm looking around and I'm saying, well, if it goes south, I got my best years in. So,
I mean, even to touch on back to the point of like, what can we learn from it? I'm afraid that, because I already feel like we're at that point kind of, but like, I'm afraid that people are going to continue to not know how to get things done in this country, or like realize where their anger needs to be directed. Because to the point of what I said about Charlie Kirk being like he was a big influence on the right-wing party. He raised money, but he was not a politician. He did not sign a bill. He did not have any like pen to paper influence on any type of policy.
yeah.
And I feel like people lose the scope on their city council, their school boards, their state legislature, that actually put pen to paper on how our day-to-day lives look, our economy looks, school policy, and that's where our real anger and our real attention needs to go to. And I feel like a lot of these influencers, they take up all this attention, and then people they don't direct their anger and their attention to where it needs to go to actually make change in this country.
Okay, so that's interesting, actually, right? All the time people spend on making comments on Reddit or TikTok or Twitter or X or whatever it's called, or Facebook, whatever social media they're on, they could actually go out and visit their local school board sessions or city council sessions or run for something or whatever the case is. There are a lot of things they could do. Do you have?
I do. I think another fear is maybe someone taking it upon themselves to handle his unfinished business, because I'm sure a lot of people that supported Charlie Kirk feel like, oh, he's gone too soon, he wasn't done, like the things he was pushing, he was making change. Other people may feel the need to echo him or carry on the rhetoric he was pushing, and I don't think that's beneficial at all.
Okay, so for you, actually, so you're someone who, for the most part, there are many things that Charlie said that you would agree with.
That I would agree with?
For sure.
No.
Well, listen to what I said earlier. He said the guy was talking every single day, just like me. I have thousands hours of video. He has probably 100,000 hours of video. There are things that he said that I will guarantee you would say, oh yeah, a lot of things that he said that you'd be like, yeah, that's actually a really good point, and that's a smart point, and that's good, that's bad,
Oh, I'm sure, but with the context and with just everything altogether, Charlie Kirk as a whole, I know I do not agree with. He could say and have, some clear points that are factually true or statistically true or morally true in rare cases, but that doesn't mean I agree with him and everything that he did. I wouldn't even say I agree with
It's
him.
not everything. It's some things, right? And so
Sure.
And so that's just kind of like me. It's like anyone. And there's nothing that if you decided, hey, I'm going to pick up and do what Charlie Kirk did, or any of us in the classroom, right? And you would think, yeah, I got these really good ideas, and I'm going to push them forward. Immediately, you just start saying things that, you think are really thoughtful and smart. And then, half the people are like, oh, this person's a jerk, like whatever. And so I get what you're saying. Like you have your own kind of personal vision of the world, and but you also understand that, right? Okay, all right, that's fair. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
I'm afraid that people laugh about this. Like I've seen it on TikTok now. Like people are laughing that an influential person in our world that made us question our beliefs, just like you do yourself. It's not funny. No one should die. Right, everyone has a right to live. That's another one of our rights in the United States.
So what's your fear of that? People not taking this seriously, and
I think just because the person died, the voice doesn't stop. Someone else is going to fill his position sooner rather than later, and everyone's going to have to live with it. And I fear that it's just going to happen again, and history is going to repeat itself once again.
So you're this college student coming down here from Boston, right? And you're studying at Penn State. You're spending a lot of money here at Penn State to study, right? You want to be challenged. You need people in your life who are going to say things that challenge you.
Yeah, that's why I didn't stay at school in Boston.
Yeah. Okay, so listen. So for example, you're a supporter of the Second Amendment, right?
Yeah.
So you then,
Well, I think in general as an American, no matter what the amendment is, what amendment, what the Constitution is, I think we just got to back the Constitution altogether.
I got you, man. You're a supporter of the Constitution. Yeah, exactly. So I hear that. Yep. And so, but for you, then it becomes this thing where it's really good for you to completely engage people who would nitpick the Constitution, right? That's important for you, right? That's how you're going to grow intellectually and so on, right? Hey, I have another question. Yeah, go ahead.
One quick point. I just want to the fear thing, right? Another fear of mine, and it goes to what I was saying about the attention, is there was a school shooting yesterday, and it's concerning, and it's a fear of mine that even on the slideshow, there wasn't a picture of the news report from the school shooting yesterday, where I think it was 4 kids who were in critical condition, also due to firearms. And so, like I said, this is just the thing of attention, right? Where the attention of where we need to really be focusing on how to change our world, and not even just our world, but our country. It's just not being put on the correct situations. And like I said, Charlie was a very influential figure, and it's something we should talk about, something that will impact the future and how we approach things. But there are other situations that are going on even more frequently that I feel like we should be having conversations about.
Yep. I have a question for all 4 of you, whoever wants to take it. How often do you think about us spiraling into some kind of civil war? Really, the violence just grows and grows and grows, and it gets to this kind of, oh my God, we're here, man.
I would say often.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is, this is only one example of an assassination. There's many, and there's been many school shootings. We've normalized school shootings to the point, they happen every week, every month. At beginning of the school year, down at UMass, or up at UMass, Georgia last year, it happens all the time, and it's just normalized.
Okay, but now go to Civil War level.
But yeah, that's what I was going to get to.
Okay,
we've cut a lot of funding for mental health, but mental health can only make people more crazy. And if someone says tomorrow, that we want to have a civil war, and they start, bashing sides, or someone goes attacks the White House, like that happened on January 2nd? What day was it? 6th.
January
6th, sorry. I was going to say 7th.
Bro, I
But
want to tell you something. All those a lot of those Second Amendment people, friends that you just
yeah, I didn't support that
you
event
just-
at all.
You just lost half of them.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
That's really too bad.
How
Because
about-
that should never happen. That's a
I got
government
that.
building.
I got you, man. I'm just letting you know that
That coulda
your friends are coming and going.
I think that could really started one.
All right, hang on one sec. All right. Do you think about, you live in the Middle East, this place where we talk about, if the Middle East is a big place, you don't have a civil war, it's not happening in Saudi, it's not happening in the Emirates, in Oman, in Kuwait, on and on. But nonetheless, do you look at the United States as this outsider and think, wow, you all could really, all this rhetoric, and you could really spiral downward pretty quickly? Do you ever think that?
I mean, sometimes after seeing the news or seeing a few reports, I could think that, like, this could turn into something bad.
Something much bigger.
But yeah, obviously.
I want to ask, Desh, where are you? You had a comment, right? Okay. This young woman right here.
Order of people. You want me to go in the order? Or just
All right, okay. Well, do you have one for her, though, just right now, really fast? Are you responding to something that we're talking about right now?
Yeah.
What are you afraid of?
I'm afraid of the fact that in past terrorism results, our nation has come together, and this has separated us even more. And I think that's really terrifying.
Wait, can you say that? First off, what's your name?
My name's Natalie.
Natalie?
Yeah.
Can you say that again?
With past terrorist events, our nation has kind of come together and united against it.
Yeah.
And yesterday there was a division,
Yeah.
and people are taking sides,
Yeah.
and there's no sense of a common goal. Instead,
Yeah.
it's separated into a few prominent ones.
Yeah. Right. So that's like, when, for example, in 9/11, when 9/11 happened, everybody was just, black people, when you, on the day after, we were having conversations at Whirling Conversation, right? And everybody, not just black people, everybody who feels like, oh, I'm not an American, and one of the things like this country never really accepted me or whatever, a lot of Latinos, a lot of black people. Everybody was an American then, man. There was no and you know who the most, just out of an interesting thing, because you wouldn't know this, but I can tell you this, the most anti-Muslim, pro-American, prejudice, I'm going to use the word hate, but with a small h, people in our groups were African Americans. And I'm like, dude, what? And to my wife and I, to this day, we look back at that and damn, y'all, what the hell happened? Then this outside enemy came, and you're like, boom, Anyway, bro, are you responding to this question? About what you're afraid of?
Natalie. I was gonna respond to Natalie. I kind of disagree about how 9/11 united us, considering that it was a deliberate attack on a specific group.
Yeah.
We started attacking Middle Easterns. We started having this rhetoric that they were all terrorists, which is still something that a lot of Americans hold to be true to this day, which is, I think, horrible. And so I think this is just another instance of terrorism dividing people.
Okay. Okay.
So I disagree about,
Yeah, hang on. Okay, so let me respond to Natalie and what I just said.
Okay.
It momentarily united everybody momentarily. Okay, everybody everybody had flags out. Even people who hated the United States had flags out. And then people also started pretty quickly to physically attack people who they identified as Muslim here in the United States, including many people who were not Muslim. But mostly, for most people, it absolutely united the country with an outside enemy. And that didn't last too long. And it still did, though. People supported the war. Man, they wanted to go. But I hear what you're saying, bro. Okay. Can we... here's a kind of a question. Do you have something? Do you have a question or a comment?
It was a comment.
All right. What's your name again?
Raul.
Raul. Okay.
Yeah. It's just my biggest fear is exactly what we're seeing in the beginning of this class, which is we've been asking questions, and yours have been very direct about like terrorism and death, and everyone's answers have always been like, oh yeah, but maybe my worry is who's going to fill his gap, or who is going to keep his rhetoric going, or is his rhetoric going to get stronger? Is he going to be like... For me, the biggest fear is very obvious, and it's like you said, in other countries, there's the culture of someone comes in a motorcycle and steals your bag. We, in the internet, and I see it with my friends this morning in the group chat and everywhere in the internet, people are like, yay, maybe he was a little out of line, but we got him killed, and that's better. There's now a gap, like, haha, look at this video where he said killing was worth it. Good thing he died. Like, you're joining him. You're being one person that says, yes, we should kill people. Yeah, I am on his team. If I don't agree with you, you should be dead. Like, we should not create a culture here where we celebrate someone's death and where saying, oh, because I didn't agree with him, we should kill him. And even though it's joking and celebrating, you see it on the internet, and that creates small groups that encourage each other online, which creates shooters.
Bro, so here's the thing. If you can go there to say like, oh, yay, let's celebrate this somehow, then Jack right here, who supports the Constitution and the Second Amendment, naturally, then, well, we can attack him too. Well, let's go to him. We went to Charlie, we'll go here, we'll go there, well, let's go to Jack.
Well, I'm sure that Jack, as a person who supports guns, supports gun responsibility and supports the awareness of what a life is.
Yeah, but that wouldn't matter, because it doesn't matter. It's like, let's attack him anyway, just because he supports guns. So
yeah,
like, okay.
And I am pro attacking Jack all day long if I felt like it, but not shooting him.
No, I got you. No, I got you. No, but this is what I'm afraid of, right? I'm afraid that you can attack this person, well, let's attack that person and this person. And you can attack me for even asking these questions at all. Like, why are you positive? And we can attack you because you're a liberal. And so, this on and on. We can attack you because, you're Saudi. And like, okay, we're talking about 9/11 and you're Saudi. So like, okay, there are a lot of reasons there. So on, right? Wait, can I see that? Bro, you had your hand up a while ago.
There was a very...
What's your name first?
My name is Ali Azair.
And where are you from?
I'm from Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
I'm a freshman, chemical engineer. There's a very important question that you asked in the beginning of the class, before you asked what we're afraid of, is what we should learn.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned spiraling down, and I have a metaphor. When you push an agenda, it's like pushing a snowball down a mountain, right? The snowball is going to get bigger and bigger, collecting more snow. When you push an agenda, you're going to collect more people.
Yeah.
So if you share your ideas with people, you're going to attract people who agree with your idea.
Yeah.
If you share it verbally, you're going to get a verbal response.
Yeah.
And if you have that discussion, you're going to get somewhere, you're going to find common ground, you're going to make progress. But if you cut that discussion and respond in violence, then you're also going to get a violent response.
Yeah.
And that's going to spiral down. So we're afraid of violence because it's uncontrollable. And we need to learn to communicate without violence, because pushing a verbal agenda is going to lead to a verbal response.
Yeah.
That's what we should learn.
Yeah.
I think just adding on to that, I think we really have to drive home the point that two wrongs don't make a right. A wrong is still a wrong.
That's kind of a simple thing, but it's one of those lessons that's very difficult to learn. And thanks, by the way, thanks for that. That's I enjoy that. Wait, go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say, I think I maybe have a proposal, like a concept of why there may be more division. I think, how do I explain this? Two wrongs don't make a right. And Charlie was very aggressive with his views. He was at least I think a lot of the things that I've seen in a lot of the media I ingested from him was anti-college, yet his main source of debate was college campuses. That's a little bit.
Well, yeah, but okay, hang on. Yes,
No,
he
yeah, you're
was
fine.
right. He was a provocateur, so to speak. But that was his job. You know what I mean?
Sure, but was his job based? It was rooted in his beliefs, was it not?
Well,
He brought up his family and children a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, look, listen. I heard him say so many things that were like kind of all over the place. Like with me, for example, that there's a point at which, to be honest with him, I think he got so good at what he was doing that he could take so many different sides and argue things. And when you do that, like for me, one of the reasons I don't talk in here, that I like having you all talk, is because I like to hear what you have to say, right? And so there is a way in which that his provocateur thing was his work. And by the way, if I had to take classes over again, I don't know what I would do. I would drop out of college immediately because I just would. So he provided a great service in a college environment. So it's like, yeah, get out and do that. All right, hang on. How did Charlie Kirk's debate style of prove me wrong actually serve to further discourse and knowledge and community? Because Amber Lynn, thanks, man. Wait, can somebody answer that question who's like a Charlie Kirk fan? Are you a Charlie Kirk fan? Dude. No, here, give him that. Here, you can use this. This one here, it's easier. Can you pass that down? Can you answer that question? How's it further discourse and knowledge and community?
Like, what do you mean? Like discourse?
Like his debate style, prove me wrong. Dude, prove me wrong, man.
I think, like, it caused some harm in the fact where, like, he's telling kids that are outwardly like gaining debt for going to college to get a good education, to get a good job one day, that you're basically doing this and it's useless because you can make money further on now, like not going to college.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you sit there and like he practiced fair speech, supported the First Amendment a lot, so
And he listened to other
he
people.
listened. I think
Yeah.
where like not to hate on Layla, but like to go against her a little bit. She said it.
No way, he's not hating on you.
No, your opinion isn't hating on me.
But she said someone could take his like rhetoric and push it further.
Yeah.
Where I think we're looking at like, oh, he had so many supporters, but he didn't talk to his supporters. He talked to people that went against him and shared everybody's beliefs, which if you're sharing your beliefs and having civil conversations like that, it prevents violence and it prevents getting shot.
Yeah.
And I also have a question, if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, go ahead.
I heard a lot of stuff about like the Second Amendment and like furthering gun laws. The whole purpose of the Second Amendment is to protect us from a dictatorship in our government. So the whole right is so you have the opportunity to protect yourself if the government goes away. My kind of question is, how do y'all like think about one political party? Because I'm very middle of the ground, but one middle of the ground is trying to strip you of your rights and not allow you to protect yourself against them, or not being able to speak out, where you see a lot of liberals nowadays are going against the freedom of speech because it causes harm. But if you're able to talk through issues, how are you causing violence?
Here, can I answer that question actually?
Sure.
First off, so you talk about individuals, people protecting themselves from the long arm of the government. You mean like when the government sends the National Guard into cities? You mean that?
I mean,
Protect ourselves from
protect
that?
yourself from anything.
Okay,
if you
I
don't
got
agree
you.
with the government,
No, I
no
got
matter who
you.
you are.
I got you, but I just feel like I had an obligation to say that. The second thing I want to say is, I think that for me, as somebody who's very much in the exact center, straddling, I think the left and the right do a pretty equal job of shutting people down and curtailing free speech. So, for example, in this class, you know, when I came into this class and we're having this conversation, and I'm thinking, I think am I doing a pretty good job of this? Am I being fair? Like, I'm not, okay? I'm not afraid of the left right now. I'm afraid of the right. I'm afraid of saying something that I don't even know is critical of the president or Charlie Kirk or something, and I'm going to get hammered, and the phone calls and the emails are going to go to Penn State, and I'm like, the right's going to take me down, right? And
I mean,
I'm really afraid of that.
I'm from Southern Virginia, so
Okay.
guns are a big thing where I
yeah,
live,
yeah.
right? A lot of military. I live on
Yeah.
the biggest naval base in the world, so you can say that you're scared of these things, but in my opinion, everybody who's died in my hometown from gun violence or people I know that have been shot, it's not majority of the time 200 yards away from a rifle
No,
while you're giving
I hear
speech.
that.
It's drug deals, it's
stuff.
it's arguments in school that
I got
cause
you, which could be a good reason to not listen to Jack here, actually.
Yes.
That could be a good argument to be like, we need to put some controls on. I just want to say one final thing. Bro, I like what you're saying. The other side is there are other days in this class when I'm not afraid of the right canceling me. I'm afraid of the left canceling me. And I'm like, oh, God, I'm going to be in trouble here. So it's equal side. One day it's liberals, and the next day it's conservatives. And I'm like, oh, my God. Wait, hang on.
Hi, my name's Adam. I'm from the Philly suburbs, and the area I live is kind of high in like stranger crime. So I see I've heard a lot of guns in my life, and so I say I don't want a civilian be able to own like an AK or something that's very high, like or semi-automatic, like we saw at Parkland.
Yeah.
With a lot of modifications. I don't think that should be a thing. Civilians shouldn't own that. Again, we can protect ourselves from like the government, and like yeah, it's important. But do you want a civilian to be able
Yeah.
to shoot you from far away?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, that's fair. Thanks for that. Wait, hang on one second. Hang on. Thanks for that. I really have to go in a different. Can I just switch? I don't want to talk about guns anymore. Were you going to talk about guns? Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Okay. Hang on. We'll come back to guns on a different day. All right. I mean, I know. I want to. Out of respect. Wait. Were you going to talk about guns? What are you going to talk about?
I was going to talk about the question that they asked before.
Oh, the question that they asked before on the stream. How did Charlie promote knowledge and thinking and community?
So his whole thing was prove me wrong, and I think that's the basis of debate. But I find the issue is, and I think the reason why he rubbed so many people the wrong way was that he acted almost as if he never really had the intention to be proved wrong. You can say as much like, oh, I'm really open-minded and I want to have my opinion changed. If you give me the right statistics, you give me the right emotional basis, you use the Constitution, use these things to actually prove me wrong, I will change my opinion.
So you felt as though it wasn't really genuine. So I try, for example, for me, yeah, that's really important. So you felt all along like, yeah, it's not really genuine. You know, you're not, you know, can I tell you a story though? So Gary, the Willard preacher, he was a generally speaking evangelical Christian. And then some student came along and started arguing with him and kept coming back. And kept coming back and kept coming back day after day after day. And eventually, the student won him over, and Gary converted to Greek Orthodox religion, right? And I'm like, damn, seriously? So here's a guy, you think like Gary even, who feels like he's not listening to you, but he converted because of this student. And I feel like Charlie, as somebody who's been around a long time, I will guarantee that he changed a lot of his ideas as a result of a lot of these debates. But I understand sometimes it feels disingenuous. And so it's like, yeah, you're not building community if you're disingenuous. Okay, wait, can I just go in a slightly different direction?
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I just would like to know in what ways he showed that he was changing his mind, or maybe he showed some progression in his thinking. Because she made a very good point. It was prove me wrong, but it was never for the benefit. Like being able to look at someone with an opposing opinion and say, I take no offense, it's not hating on me, it's your opinion, it's your stance, I respect it, is something he did rarely. And I think even again in relation to who he was talking to, he's 31, or correct?
Yeah.
He's in his 30s arguing with college students and pushing a fake prove me wrong narrative. I'm going to listen to you. No, you're not.
No, here, I'll tell you how I know that he shifted his thinking. Because you cannot be engaged with human beings in the way that he was and the way that I am, day after day after day. You cannot engage at that level and shift the way you see the world. And I listened to the complexity of his arguments over time, and I'm like, yeah, that dude's like, these things are getting to him. Do you think we're more open to conversations now compared to before the internet? Ghost stories. Do you think, well, you guys don't. How do you guys don't know? You're too young. Wait, what do you think?
I think absolutely, we're more open to conversations because, like, my mom's always told me, like, she would never have these conversations with her parents at home. And, like, her parents were very traditional Christian, and she said, like, conversations were just not talked about, like anything. Even sex, I don't think it was talked about at all. Like, none of it.
Jason.
And we talk about...
Jason, how about you? Do you think, what's like your gut feeling about, how, just for you and amongst your friends and so on, how open are you?
I think it depends. I don't think we have conversations anymore. Even on like our biggest stages, you look at presidential debates now, and there's no conversation being had. There's no, even like in terms of what a debate should be, it's no longer what a debate should be. You can even go back to 2012 when you had Obama against I don't remember his name. But in the 2012 election, you had them shaking hands. You had them making jokes at each other and, oh, yeah, I agree with this. And, oh, but no, I don't agree with that. But let me tell you why. There's no proper dialogue happening anymore. And so in terms of open to conversation, I don't believe in what an actual conversation is. I don't believe we have them anymore.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say. As someone who's been in this forever, I'm actually quite impressed with the levels, the kinds of conversations that people have. Now, mind you, I think that there are a lot of one-sided conversations that you see on social media, but I think, I'm going to follow Jack on this, or Jack's mom, and I'm going to say, even though you all are throwing all this stuff out there on social media, when it comes time for you to have conversations, when I'm engaging with people, I feel like people are, my students, people like you all, are more, so ghost stories. I feel like my young people are more capable of having conversations. They often don't, but we didn't either. Y'all didn't either. People didn't either when they were young. Hey, I just want to say one thing. I want to go in a different direction here, because I told some people I was going to ask this. What are you thinking about 9/11? September 11th, 2001. Like, what do you think about it when you think about that? This is probably one of, outside of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, we would call that war, but it's also terrorism. But this was maybe one of the, certainly up to its time, the biggest act of terrorism. What's your generation thinking about?
The common answer is probably going to be like, oh, all the lives that were lost. But I think we also have to look at it like we have a lot of selfless people, like a lot of people that will look after others before themselves. I bet many of you read The Red Bandana or The Boy in the Red Bandana, something like that.
Mhm.
He went to BC. He was a student. He went up and down, I think, the South Tower maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 times and grabbed more and more people. But eventually by then it crashed down. So people just remember him as having a red bandana on, but he was selfless to the fact that he would save anyone else's life in this room before he would save his own.
So for you, when you think about 9/11, you think about people coming together and selflessness. And
Yeah.
stuff. How about somebody else? How about you?
I'd like to point out, okay, first of all, obviously it was a very tragic incident, but I'd like to point out that how, like, even though it's happened almost 24 years ago, it's really beautiful how people still keep advocating and keep talking about it. So I remember when I was younger, I used to study here in the US, and I remember learning about it, and we would read it in our books, and we were taught about it, and we all knew, even as young kids, like I'm talking first graders, we were taught about it. And now that we're in uni and we're all like grown, we're still talking about it and we're still advocating for it because we believe it's something that's very tragic and that we should learn and we should grow. And it taught us many things, obviously.
Okay. Yeah, cool. That's all. That's uplifting. So that's uplifting. This is uplifting. Jason, how about you? Where does your mind, when you think of 9/11, where do you go? And we only have a few minutes left, so we'll do both.
I'll make it quick. I was born in 06, so I was not alive during 9/11. But growing up in its aftermath and learning about the effects of 9/11, how it was handled, I think what comes to mind is just how it was handled and how we went about it has like changed the course of like how we've handled conflicts in other countries. And someone mentioned earlier about like how certain like populations of people, like people from Middle Eastern who traveled here or immigrated here, how they were treated afterwards, just because the level of hate that was grown for certain populations of people that had nothing to do with the individuals who were involved in that. I think if we went about it differently and how we approached the war and terror and all that, like I think a lot of countries and even our country would look a lot different.
Yeah, for sure. Layla, how about you? Like, what has 9/11 been like? You know, in your life, right? In your consciousness, where does it sit?
It definitely sits as a tragedy for sure. There's no real way around that. I think it was a turning point. In a scary way, maybe it shouldn't have happened for people to kind of wake up and for there to be unity and change, but yeah, I think that's my general stance on it. And first responders in that time definitely deserve their flowers because
that it changed how we think about first responders. The fact that you all use that word, that you just used the word, we didn't use that word before 9/11. That was like, that's a thing. It's so interesting for me, just as being the age that I am, and the age that you all are, like how many things I know that you don't know. Just like that, you know? And I don't mean that to say I'm better. It's just like, wow, people of my generation hold a lot of knowledge about things that you don't. Hey, can we have a round of applause for you all? And those of you who ask questions and make comments and stuff, for sure, also, thank you. Like, this is really big. Yeah, this is big.